Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to break down the world of modern hair removal, especially for all you busy professionals out there working in hubs like Singapore's CBD.
Sound familiar? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. The sources we're explaining today really get into this common frustration, and they focus on finding solutions that actually work for Singapore's, superhuman climate and its amazing, diverse population.
So, why is this such a big deal here? Well, for so many of us in Singapore, the research we're looking at shows that the daily grind of dealing with unwanted hair gets a whole lot worse thanks to our local weather.
The sources really highlight this frustrating loop, right? You use traditional methods like shaving, and the results last, a day or two? So you're in this constant cycle of upkeep. And that often leads to irritated skin, razor burn, and those awful, painful ingrown hairs, which the humidity just makes 10 times worse. And it's not just a physical thing. One study we saw found that for a whopping 60% of people, ingrown hair seriously mess with their self-esteem.
Okay, so if you're stuck in that cycle, what are your choices? The sources lay out all the common options, but here's the catch. Every single one has some pretty major downsides. With every common method, you're making a trade-off. Shaving is fast, but the hair's back in a flash. And you risk irritation. Waxing, sure, it lasts longer, but it hurts, and it can even cause bruising. And all those at-home IPL gadgets? Well, the sources warn they just don't have the power to give you real results, and they come with their own set of risks.
And that risk is very real. This quote is from aesthetic director Serene Cham. She says she's seen the consequences of people trying to DIY this stuff. We're talking burns, pigmentation problems, all from devices that just can't compare to professional tech. It's a huge warning that what seems like an easy shortcut can cause much bigger headaches down the road.
So that brings us to the professional technologies. And this is where the source material really argues the true, long-term solution is something that gets you off that temporary hamster wheel.
Now here's a key difference you've got to know. Traditional IPL uses these intense single zaps of light, which can be pretty uncomfortable. But super hair removal, or SHR, is different. It uses a gradual heating method. Think of it like a gentle warming. This makes the whole process basically painless, and more importantly, it's suitable for all skin types.
So let's break down these pro options. You've got things like NDYAG lasers, which are fantastic for darker skin, and diode lasers, which work for most people. But SHR, which is a type of advanced diode laser, really stands out because it's effective across all skin types. In a diverse place like Singapore, that kind of inclusivity is a total game changer.
And this data, wow, it shows just how much the right technology matters. One of the key findings is that when treatments don't work on Asian skin, a staggering 60% of the time, it's because the wrong type of laser was used. Think about that. It's not that the treatment itself can't work, it's that the wrong tool was picked for the job.
And this quote from a customer, Priya, just makes that data so real. She was actually turned away from 3 other places because they said her skin was too dark. It just goes to show you the real frustration people go through and the huge difference it makes when you find inclusive technology that's actually made for everyone.
Okay, so you found the right tech. Now what? What does the journey actually look like? Knowing what's coming from how you prep to the final outcome is absolutely key.
The sources are super clear on this. How you prepare is everything for both safety and for getting good results. You've got to stay out of the sun, hit pause on skincare products with things like retinoids, and this one is really important. You have to shave about a day before. You can't wax or pluck because the laser actually needs that hair follicle to be there so it can do its job.
And here's the thing to remember. This isn't an overnight miracle. It's a marathon, not a sprint. After your first few months, you'll see a real reduction and the hair that's left will be finer. By the time you finish a full course, usually around 8 to 12 sessions, most people see an 80 to 90% permanent reduction. It's all timed to your body's natural hair growth cycles.
And of course, those expectations change depending on the body part. As you can see here, it's not a one-size-fits-all deal. Finer hair, like on your face, might only take 4 to 6 sessions. But for coarser hair, say in the Brazilian area, you might be looking at 8 to 10 to get those really smooth results.
All right, this brings us to the big picture, long-term value. The sources we looked at don't frame this as just an expense. They frame it as an investment in yourself. And for busy professionals, time is literally money, right? That's where convenience, like having a spot right next to the Tanjong Pagar MRT, becomes a huge part of that value. Just think about it. The lifetime cost of razors, creams, or those monthly waxing appointments really starts to add up. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars. So while a professional laser package is more money up front, it can end up being way more cost-effective over time because it breaks that cycle of endless spending.
And this idea of long-term value is even built right into the pricing models. For example, a provider called Wellaholic offers this thing called lifetime maintenance mode. So once you finish your first plan, any touch-ups you might need in the future are about half price, for life. That makes keeping up with it actually sustainable.
Look, when you're making this kind of investment, you want to trust the provider, right? Well, how's this for trust? Over 2,000 verified customer reviews. That's some powerful social proof right there. And it points to a really strong history of happy customers and consistent results.
So what does this all boil down to? The big takeaway from the sources seems to be that new technology, especially the kind that's inclusive for all skin tones, has completely changed the game. Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Is that daily hassle of shaving and waxing still something you have to do, or has it finally become a choice?